Welcome, dear friend. You've made it to the end of another day. Whatever you carry today, the weight of it, the noise of it, you can set it all down now. This moment belongs entirely to you. Find a comfortable position. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw soften. Let your hands rest open and still. Take a slow breath in, hold it gently, and breathe out. Let everything go with that breath. You are safe. You are held. You are not alone. Tonight, we are going to rest together in one of the most beautiful corners of all of Scripture. We are going to sit with the Psalms of David, the ancient songs and prayers of a shepherd boy who became a king, a warrior who became a poet, a man who knew both great joy and great sorrow, and who poured all of it, every drop, into words spoken directly to God. These are not distant, formal prayers. These are the words of someone who truly believed that God was listening. That God was near. That even in the darkest valley, a hand was guiding him home. So let us begin. Close your eyes if you like. Breathe slowly. And let the ancient world come gently to you. We begin at the beginning. Long before David was a king, before he wore a crown or carried a scepter, he was a boy in the fields of Bethlehem. His name, David, means beloved. And from his earliest days, he was exactly that, beloved. He was the youngest of 8 sons, born to a man named Jesse. In the culture of that time, the youngest son was often the least regarded, the last considered, the one left behind while the older brothers were given the important tasks. And so David was given the sheep. Every morning, before the sun had fully risen, before the household had stirred, David would rise and lead his flock out into the fields. He knew each animal by name. He knew their habits, their fears, the sound of their bleating when they were hungry, or frightened, or lost. The hills around Bethlehem were quiet in those early hours. The dew still clung to the grass. The air smelled of earth and cedar and something cool and clean that only comes before sunrise. David would sit on a hillside with his flock grazing below him, and he would play. He had a harp, a simple instrument, made of wood and strings. And in those long, solitary hours in the fields, he taught himself to play. He taught himself to sing. Not for an audience. Not for praise. Just because the beauty of the world around him seemed to demand a response. The stars fading into dawn. The way a lamb would stumble and then find its feet. The sound of water running over stones in a nearby stream. All of it filled him with something he couldn't name, a deep, wordless gratitude, a sense that the world was not empty, that someone had made all of this, and that someone was near. And so he sang to that someone. We can imagine him now, in those early hours. Sitting on a stone, his flock settled around him, the sky still dark except for a pale glow at the edge of the horizon. He plucks a few notes on his harp, softly, slowly. And then a melody begins to form. And then words. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Perhaps he didn't know, in that moment, that those words would be sung and spoken and wept over for 3,000 years. Perhaps he was just a boy in a field, talking to God about his sheep, and realizing with a quiet surprise that the same care he gave to his flock was the care that God gave to him. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. Let those words rest in you for a moment. He restoreth my soul. Not just comfort. Not just provision. Restoration. The returning of something that had been lost or worn or broken. The filling up of something that had been emptied. David knew what it was to be emptied. He would face lions in those fields, real lions, that came in the night to take his sheep. He would stand between the predator and the flock with nothing but a staff and a sling and a certainty that he was not alone. He knew what fear felt like. He knew what it was to cry out in the dark and wait for an answer. And somehow, in all of that, he found that there was always an answer. Not always the answer he expected. Not always deliverance from the thing he feared. But always presence. Always company. Always that quiet, steady sense that he was not abandoned. "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For thou art with me." He was not pretending there was no valley. He was not pretending there was no shadow. He walked through it. He felt it. But he was not alone in it. "Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me." The rod for protection. The staff for guidance. Two simple tools, carried by every shepherd. And David saw in them the image of a God who both protected and directed, who kept the wolves away and also kept the sheep on the right path. "Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies." This is one of the most striking images in all of Scripture. Not a table in a safe place, after the danger has passed. A table right there, in the presence of the enemies. Abundance in the middle of adversity. Peace in the middle of conflict. God saying, "Sit down. Eat. I am here." The threat does not have the final word. "Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life." Not just visit. Follow. Like a companion that never leaves. Like a shadow that stays even when the light shifts. "And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever." It ends not with triumph but with belonging. Not with conquest but with homecoming. After all the valleys, after all the green pastures, after all the enemies and the tables and the paths of righteousness, after all of it, home. Rest. Forever. Let that word settle into you now. Forever. No more striving. No more wandering. Just the quiet, complete peace of being exactly where you were always meant to be. Breathe in. And breathe out. The night deepens around us. The stars are fully out now, more of them than seems possible, scattered across the darkness like a handful of light thrown by a generous hand. The sheep are still. The harp rests across David's lap. He looks up at the sky for a long moment, saying nothing. Just looking. Just being seen. Now we travel forward a little in David's story. He is no longer a boy. He has been anointed king by the prophet Samuel, a moment that came when he was still in the field, called in almost as an afterthought because no one thought to bring him to the gathering. His brothers, taller and stronger and more impressive, were passed over one by one. And then Samuel asked, "Are there any more sons?" And Jesse said, "Well, there is the youngest. He is tending the sheep." And David came in from the field, sun-brown and bright-eyed, smelling of grass and earth. And the moment Samuel saw him, he knew. But anointing does not mean immediate coronation. Between the day Samuel poured oil on David's head and the day David actually sat on the throne of Israel, there were years. Long, difficult, uncertain years. King Saul, the current king, grew jealous of David. The people loved David. They sang about him in the streets. And Saul, who had once welcomed David into his household, who had once loved him like a son, turned against him. Saul wanted David dead. And so David ran. He hid in caves. He slept on the bare ground. He ate when he could find food. He gathered around him a band of men who were also outcasts, also desperate, also lost. And in those dark years of hiding and running, he kept writing. It is from this period that some of the most raw and honest psalms come, the ones that don't begin with praise but with anguish. The ones that ask, God, where are you? The ones that say, I am exhausted. I am afraid. I feel forgotten. My God, why hast thou forsaken me? Why art thou so far from helping me, and from the words of my roaring? He does not pretend to be at peace. He does not perform a faith he doesn't feel. He pours out the real thing, the confusion, the despair, the sense of abandonment, and he pours it directly at God. Because even in his darkest moments, he has not stopped believing there is a God to pour it at. This is one of the most profound things about the Psalms. They give us permission to be honest. To bring the full weight of our experience, not just the beautiful parts, into our relationship with God. To say, I don't understand this. I am struggling. I am afraid. Where are you? And then, almost always, something shifts. Not because the circumstances change, but because the act of bringing it to God changes something in David himself. O my God, I cry in the daytime, but thou hearest not, and in the night season, and am not silent. But thou art holy, O thou that inhabitest the praises of Israel. Our fathers trusted in thee, they trusted, and thou didst deliver them. He remembers. He remembers the faithfulness of God to those who came before. He remembers that the story is longer than this moment. He remembers that he has been in tight places before and been brought through them. And then, remarkably, he looks forward. He sees that this story will be told. That people not yet born will hear of it. That what feels like abandonment will be seen, from a later vantage point, as part of something larger, something purposeful, something that ends not in despair but in declaration. Let those words rest with you now. The story is longer than this moment. Whatever you are carrying tonight, whatever feels unresolved or uncertain or heavy, it is not the end of the story. It is a page, perhaps a difficult page, but still only a page in something much larger, much more beautiful than you can currently see. Breathe in. And breathe out. We rest here for a moment. Let the night hold you. Let the stars above David's cave hold you too, those same stars that have hung over every dark night, every difficult chapter, every quiet moment of surrender, for thousands of years. Now the fire is low. Just embers now, glowing orange and red in the dark. The men around David sleep. Some of them breathe slowly and deeply. A dog lies near the entrance to the cave. The night is cold, but not unbearably so. And David sits with his harp again, unable to sleep, as he so often was. He begins to play. And this time, the psalm that comes is not one of anguish. It is something else entirely. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. This is Psalm 91. Perhaps the most comforting psalm of all. A psalm for the night. A psalm for the afraid. A psalm for the ones who need to know they are covered. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him will I trust. Refuge. Fortress. Two of the most shelter-laden words in any language. A refuge is a place you run to. A fortress is a place that holds against attack. David was a military man. He understood fortresses. He had defended them, besieged them, hidden in them. And here he says, God is that. God is not just a comfort. God is a structure. Something solid you can press your back against in the dark. Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler, and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. Under his wings. The image shifts completely. From fortress to bird. From military strength to maternal warmth. God as the great shelter, wings spread wide, everything gathered underneath, warm and hidden and still. It is one of the most tender images in all of Scripture, and it comes in the middle of a poem about protection in battle. This is what David understood about God, that the same God who is a fortress is also a shelter with warm wings. That strength and tenderness are not opposites in this God. That you can be completely held and completely safe at the same time. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that fleeth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 4 fears. Night terror. Daytime violence. Hidden disease. Midday devastation. Every hour of the day and night is covered. There is no time, no circumstance, no hour of the clock in which you are outside of this protection. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. This is not a promise that the world will be without disaster. It is a promise that you will be carried through it. That in the middle of great upheaval, there is a hiding place, and it has your name on it. Because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation, there shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. His angels. Charged with your keeping. Not occasionally. Not conditionally. In all thy ways. Every step. Every road. Every dark corridor and every bright path. Every ordinary day and every impossible moment. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Let that image come to you now. Hands beneath you. Invisible, but real. Bearing you up. Making sure that even the ordinary stumbles of life, the unexpected stones in the path, do not bring you down for good. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him, I will be with him in trouble, I will deliver him, and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him, and shew him my salvation. I will answer him. Not maybe. Not if he is worthy. Not if his faith is strong enough or his record good enough. I will answer him. Breathe that in. Let it settle all the way down. You are heard. You have been heard all along. The embers glow softly. David's eyes grow heavy. His harp rests warm against his shoulder. Outside the cave, the stars will slowly overhead, and the world is quiet, quiet, quiet. Let us rest here for a while. Just breathe. In and out. Slowly. The fire flickers. Somewhere in the distance, an owl calls once, and then is silent. The night is deep and full and peaceful. We breathe together, and we rest. And now we come to the last psalm we will sit with tonight. David is older now. He has been through so much. He became king, as promised, but the road there was longer and harder than he could have imagined. He has led armies into battle and wept over fallen friends. He has made great mistakes and known the weight of guilt and the relief of forgiveness. He has danced with such abandon before the Ark of the Covenant that his garments billowed around him. He has sat in grief and mourned. He has written songs of celebration and songs of sorrow and everything in between. He is a man who has lived fully. Who has held nothing back from God, not his joy, not his doubt, not his sin, not his hope. And in the quietness of an evening, he lifts his eyes to the hills, and something comes to him. Something simple. Something that contains everything. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. This is Psalm 121. A song of ascents, sung by pilgrims on their way up to Jerusalem. A walking song. A traveling song. A song for the journey. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved, he that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. He does not sleep. This is not a small thing. The gods of the surrounding nations were unpredictable. They might be asleep when you needed them. They might be distracted. They might be occupied with other things, other worshippers, other concerns. You could never be quite sure if they were paying attention. But this God, the God of David, the God who made heaven and earth, he does not sleep. There is no moment in your life, no hour of the night, no darkest hour of the soul, in which he has nodded off and left you unattended. He is awake. He is watching. He has not taken his eyes off you. The Lord is thy keeper, the Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Shade in the desert heat. Shelter in the night cold. Day and night, sun and moon, the full cycle of every day, he covers it all. There is no gap. There is no unguarded hour. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil, he shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth, and even for evermore. Your going out. Your coming in. The ordinary movements of your ordinary life, preserved. Watched over. Accompanied. Not just the dramatic moments. Not just the crises and the crossroads. Every going out. Every coming in. The small departures and the quiet homecomings. All of it, held. All of it, seen. From this time forth, and even for evermore. There is no end to this watching. No expiry date on this care. It does not run out when your faith wavers or your prayers grow quiet or your life becomes complicated. It continues. Quietly. Steadily. Always. From this time forth. That means now. This moment. This quiet room where you are resting, this place where your body is finally still. He is here now. He has been here all along. And even forevermore. Beyond tonight. Beyond tomorrow. Beyond every day you can imagine and every day you cannot. Into a future that is already held, and watched over by eyes that do not close. You are safe, dear friend. You are known. You are carried. Let your breathing slow now. All the way down. Think of David, the young shepherd boy sitting on that hillside in the gray pre-dawn, his flock asleep around him, his harp warm across his lap. He looks up at the sky and he sees what he always sees, more stars than he can count, a universe too vast to comprehend, and yet, somehow, the unmistakable sense that he is not lost in it. That he is found in it. He is beloved. And so are you. The same God who watched over that hillside in Bethlehem is watching over you right now. The same presence that restored David's soul is here to restore yours. The same voice that said you shall not want is speaking, even now, into the quietest place inside you. Let your body be heavy. Let your mind grow still. Let the thoughts that circle slowly begin to settle, like birds coming to rest on a branch at the end of a long day. There is nothing you need to solve tonight. Nothing you need to carry. Nothing you need to hold together. The one who holds everything is holding you. The Lord is your shepherd. You shall not want. He makes you to lie down in green pastures. He leads you beside the still waters. He restores your soul. He leads you in paths of righteousness. Not because you are perfect. Not because you have earned it. But for his name's sake. Because this is who he is. This is what he does. And even when you walk through the valley, even when the path is dark and the shadows are long and the way is unclear, you do not walk alone. He is with you. His presence is with you. The gentle pressure of a hand you cannot see but somehow feel, guiding, steadying, holding you upright. The table is set. Even here. Even now. The cup is full. It runs over. Goodness and mercy are following you. Not ahead of you, following you. They are behind you, covering the ground you have already walked, redeeming the days you thought were lost, gathering up everything you dropped along the way. And the house of the Lord, that place of belonging, of rest, of being fully known and fully loved, is not just a distant destination. It is where you are already, in this moment, as you breathe slowly in the quiet dark. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills. Let your eyes be still now. Let them close, or let them rest softly on the darkness. From whence cometh my help? Your help is already here. My help cometh from the Lord. From the one who made heaven and earth. From the one who made you. From the one who has not taken his eyes off you, not once, not ever, from the very first moment of your life until this one. He will not suffer your foot to be moved. You are held. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. You can sleep now. He is awake. He is watching. You do not have to stay alert. You do not have to keep guard. You can let go, fully and completely, because the one who never sleeps is keeping you. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in, from this time forth, and even for evermore. Evermore. That is the last word. And it is enough. Sleep now, dear friend. You are held in hands that do not tire, watched over by eyes that do not close, loved by a love that does not end. Sleep. And let the peace of the Lord, which passes all understanding, guard your heart and your mind tonight. Good night. But we are not done yet. There is more to rest in tonight. Let us go back. Let us go deeper. The hills of Judea are ancient hills. They have been walked by shepherds since before anyone wrote down their names. They roll gently, one into the next, covered in sparse grass and twisted olive trees and the occasional limestone outcropping bleached white by the sun. At night they are silver and dark, moonlight catching the pale stones, shadows pooling in the valleys between the ridges. This is the landscape that shaped David. Not palaces. Not cities. These hills. This quiet. He knew every stone of the hillside above Bethlehem. He knew where the grass grew thick near the seep spring on the eastern slope, where to find shelter from the midday heat in the shadow of a limestone bluff. He knew where the valley opened into a small flat meadow that the sheep loved, green and soft, with a trickle of clear water running along its edge. He would bring them there in the evenings. After a long day of walking, when the light was going golden and the air was cooling, he would guide them gently down into that little valley and watch them settle. One by one they would find their patches of grass. One by one they would stop moving and start grazing. And gradually, the whole flock would become still. And David would sit at the edge of the meadow, back against a rock, and watch the sky change. The blue deepening. The first star appearing, always in the same place, always reliable, always the first. Then 2, then a dozen, then too many to count. The moon rising, full or crescent or hidden behind the dark bulk of a cloud. The Milky Way slowly becoming visible as the last light left the western sky, that pale river of light overhead, incomprehensibly vast, impossibly beautiful. He thought about God a great deal in those hours. Not the formal God of the temple, though he would come to know and love that too. He thought about the God who made this. Who made the grass and the water and the sheep and the stars. Who made the particular quality of silence that settles on the hills after sunset. Who made the smell of the earth after rain and the sound of a lamb calling for its mother and the way the moon made shadows from the olive trees that shifted slowly as the night moved on. This God did not feel distant to David. This God felt close. Closer than the rock at his back. Closer than the sound of his own breathing. And he wanted to talk to that God. He wanted to say, I see this. I see what you made. It is so beautiful that it makes me want to weep. And I am small in it, so small, and yet somehow I do not feel lost. I feel found. How do you write a song for something like that? You start with what you know. The Lord is my shepherd. You start with the most familiar thing, the flock, the pasture, the well-worn relationship between shepherd and sheep, and you let it carry the weight of something much larger. You let the small, daily truth point toward the great eternal truth. Because that is how truth often works. The finite makes a door for the infinite. The known opens into the unknown. The Lord is my shepherd. And I am the sheep. Dependent. Not always wise. Sometimes wandering. Sometimes afraid. In need of guidance and protection and, when I am lost, in need of someone to come and find me. He was not ashamed to be the sheep. This is worth noticing. In a culture that valued strength and independence, David, warrior, king, giant killer, wrote of himself as a sheep. As the creature that needs a shepherd. As the one who cannot find his own way, who needs to be led beside still waters rather than left to find them on his own. There is great wisdom in knowing what you are. And what we are, all of us, at the end of every long day, is sheep. Tired sheep. Sheep who have wandered today, or been frightened today, or walked too far in the wrong direction. Sheep who need, more than anything, to be led back to the still waters. Back to the place of rest. Back to the arms of the shepherd. He leadeth me beside the still waters. Not rushing waters. Not the fierce, noisy torrent of a winter flood. Still waters. Quiet waters. The kind that barely move. The kind that reflect the sky and the stars without distortion, in perfect, undisturbed clarity. This is the image of rest that David offers. Not dramatic rest. Not triumphant rest. Just still. Quiet. Reflecting the sky. Let that be the goal for tonight. Let your mind become, slowly, like still water. Not rushing. Not turbulent. Just still enough to reflect what is above. The stars are out. The flock is settled. Somewhere nearby, water moves gently over smooth stones, just enough sound to fill the silence without disturbing it. Breathe in. And breathe out. He restoreth my soul. Restoration takes time. It cannot be rushed. The Hebrew word here, it means something like a turning back, a returning. As if the soul, when depleted, has wandered from its true place. And restoration is the gentle process of being turned back, returned, brought home to where it belongs. This is what sleep is, perhaps. A restoration. A nightly returning. The soul finding its way back, in the quiet dark, to its source. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Not your sake. His. This matters enormously. The paths of righteousness are not paths you earn access to by being good enough. They are paths he leads you in because of who he is, not who you are. His name, his character, his nature, his faithful loving kindness, is the reason. You are led there by grace. Always by grace. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. We must sit with this line longer than we usually do. The valley of the shadow of death. In Hebrew, the original phrase is tsamovet, a compound word that means something like deep darkness, or the shadow that comes before death. It is the valley where light fails. Where the walls close in and the path is no longer visible and the familiar landmarks have disappeared. Every person knows this valley in some form. The diagnosis that changes everything. The loss that will not heal. The night when sleep will not come and the mind circles in the dark and everything feels precarious and uncertain. The long season when faith becomes difficult and prayer feels like speaking into silence. David did not skip over this valley. He walked through it. The verb matters. Not around. Not above. Through. And here is what he found in the middle of the valley. I will fear no evil. Not I do not feel afraid. Not the valley is not dark. But I will fear no evil. A choice. A defiance. A decision made in the middle of the difficult thing, not from the safety of the far side. For thou art with me. This is the pivot of the whole psalm. Every other assurance flows from this one. The green pastures and the still waters and the paths of righteousness and the table and the overflowing cup, all of it rests on this foundation, thou art with me. Not you were with me. Not you will be with me when this is over. With me. Here. Now. In this valley. In this shadow. The presence changes everything. Not the circumstances. The presence. You don't need the valley to disappear. You need company in the valley. And that is precisely what you have. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Two tools. The rod, a heavy club, used to drive off predators, to defend the flock from anything that would harm it. The staff, a long crook, used to guide the sheep, to pull back the ones who are about to step over the edge, to gently redirect the ones who are going the wrong way. Protection and guidance. Strength and gentleness. Both at once. The shepherd does not have to choose between defending you and guiding you. He is fully capable of both. He is walking beside you with both the rod and the staff. Everything that threatens you will encounter the rod. Every wrong turn you are about to make will feel the gentle pressure of the staff. You are not on your own in this. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Let us sit with this image. A table. Set with care. With food and drink. In the presence of enemies. The enemies have not been defeated. They are still there. David does not pretend otherwise. The threats are real. The danger has not passed. And yet, a table. And God is the host. And the invitation is to sit down. To sit down in the middle of the threat. To eat in the middle of the danger. To receive abundance in the middle of adversity. This is not denial. This is a profound statement about the nature of God's provision. It does not wait for all the problems to be solved. It does not require safety before it arrives. It sets the table right here, in the actual circumstances of your actual life, not in some imagined future where everything has worked out. The table is here. Now. Come and sit. Thou anointest my head with oil. Anointing with oil was a gesture of welcome, of honor, of care. When a guest arrived after a long journey, dusty, weary, perhaps sunburned, the host would pour fragrant oil on their head. It was cooling and soothing, and it said, without words, "You are welcome here. You have arrived. You can stop now. You can stop now. My cup runneth over. Not full. Overflowing. More than enough. More than could be contained." The measure of God's provision is not careful and calculated. It is extravagant. It spills over the edges. It cannot be contained in a cup of human need. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. All the days. Every single one. Not just the good ones. Not just the days when you feel His presence clearly, when faith comes easily, when life is going well. All the days. The hard ones too. The confused ones. The days when you can barely put one foot in front of the other. Goodness and mercy are following you on all of those days. Quietly. Steadily. Even when you cannot feel them. And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Forever. This is where the psalm ends. Not with a battle won. Not with enemies defeated. Not with triumph or achievement. But with belonging. With dwelling. With being at home, permanently, irrevocably, eternally at home, in the presence of the one who has been shepherding all along. Let that be your last thought tonight. Not a problem to solve. Not a worry to hold. Just a homecoming. You are coming home. You are, in some sense, already home. The house of the Lord is not a building in a distant city. It is the presence of God. And that presence is here. It has always been here. Close your eyes a little more. Let your body sink a little deeper. Let your breathing slow until it is barely perceptible, just the quiet rhythm of a body at rest, completely surrendered to sleep. The stars are out above the hills of Judea. The shepherd boy's fire has burned down to a warm, orange glow. The sheep are utterly still. The night is perfectly quiet. And somewhere in that quiet, a young man with a harp rests his head back against a cool stone, and looks up at the sky, and smiles. Because he knows something that took him years to learn, and that he will spend the rest of his life trying to say in different ways. He is not alone. He has never been alone. And neither have you. Sleep now. Let the goodness and mercy that have been following you today continue their quiet work through the night. Let the shepherd who has been leading you all day keep leading you gently into rest. Let the presence that was with you in every valley be with you now, in this final valley, the soft, dark valley of sleep, guiding you safely, peacefully, all the way down. You are held. You are known. You are loved. And you will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Good night, dear friend. Good night.